Dear friends, I'm glad to see you all on Feygin Live TV. We are starting our translation. It's Tuesday, 24th of May, 15 minutes past 10. I apologize for our 15-minute delay. We had a technical need to prepare a few things for this cast. We're trying to visualize or help you visualize some things, but we're starting. It is day 90, 3 calendar months of this war, since the beginning of this war, and we'll be discussing it as usual with Olexiy Arestovych. Good evening. Today I want to show you where did the attack started. He's quoting Belarus president, a famous meme about Ukraine attacking Belarus. Alright, I will not remind you. Please subscribe, the usual, to mine, to Alexei's channels, and to Privateer Station if you're listening to that in English. Starting tomorrow, live cast will be happening at 8 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. Kiev and Moscow time. So, if you want to watch it live, you can do it on Mark's channel at 8 p.m. Moscow. Now, Olexiy, your word. Tell us about the news. Let me bring the map up. The map really helps. Probably we should have started showing it from the beginning, but at the same time, at the beginning it maybe was a bit too classified or too sensitive. We probably shouldn't have done it, but right now we can do it. And maps usually give a very good understanding of what is going on. So let's try. Konstantin, Mark's assistant, is showing us Belgorod, and I'll show you some events. Find Belgorod, it's on 11 o'clock, the big city. And then we go a bit down southeast, city Volchansk, on the border of, on the Ukrainian side. Russia still holds that city. And there is a road going from Neskuchne, Ternovaya, about 8 p.m. from Volchansk. So that's where our troops were advancing on this road near Rodyansk towards Rubezhne, and Russian troops invaded from the Russian side of the border, and our troops needed to stop and fortify their left flank to protect themselves. Why Russians are doing it? Because if we manage to cross the river, and we actually did cross that. It's not a secret. We did cross the river. This is a water reservoir, Pecheneg water reservoir. So, if we seriously cut Volchansk on the south, all the group down south of it will start having big issues with logistics. They've been thinking for a few days, and now they're starting to attack us or slow us down on our flank, which was successful to a degree, because we slowed down and we started. I'm not going to tell you where we are, but we started to protect our left flank. Especially it's the border with Russia, so it's fairly easy for them to attack us from that direction. Now let's go to Izum. Next map. Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. Next map. Konstantin, show us the next one. Okay, here is Izum, Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Lysychansk. There are a lot of events in this map, so we'll probably be looking at it for a long time. And tomorrow we'll add another one. Let's find Izum and Barvenkova. Izum at about 11 o'clock. You can see it in the forested area. That's where they started about 3-4 on the 4th of April. And that's what they did. They attacked Izum, Kamenka, Kamyshevacha, Vernopolye, and they wanted to get to Barvinkovo and cut the road from Dnipro to Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. And that's where our troops paused them and threw them back. Now they aggregated a bit in Sukhaya Kamenka. You see there's an M03 road going to 5 o'clock from Izum, a red line going towards Slavyansk. So in Sukhaya Kamenka they got some reserves and they started advancing towards Krasnopolye in order to reach the suburbs of Slavyansk. Yesterday they repeated their attempts, did not have any success, were thrown back, but still aggregating some troops. They also tried to establish a pontoon bridge over Seversky Donetsk to feed this group. I will not give exact position. Let's look. Slavyanogorsk, that's about 16 o'clock, about 4 o'clock from Izum. They're trying to attack in that area too. Not really successful. Another direction where they've been somewhat successful was Red Liman, Krasny Liman. Now it's just Liman, it's an old map. But according to some data, they already are fighting within that town. So that situation is not simple for us there. To the right, there is another town called Yampol. It's another 4 o'clock to the right, a bit low right from Liman, Yampol. It's under the forested area. And then there is a red road going underneath it towards Seversk. And there are villages, Dronovka and Zakotne. Another 4 p.m. from Yampol. So that place, if you found it, good. If you have not, you can pause screen later and watch it, find it. That's where they want to get. They also want to cross to the right of Liman, get that area, and want to reach Seversk and capture that road, conglomerate, that road area. And then following to the right, there is Lysychansk. That's where Rubezhnaya, a little bit to the north, that was taken. And right over Lysychansk, there are some bridges that were blown. So now they're fighting there, very heavy fighting. And if one goes down south, there is Popasnaya to 4 p.m. They've taken Popasnaya and wanted to go to Kamyshevacha and Grubovka. That's from Popasnaya to 11. It's a red road from Solidar to Lysychansk. It says Artyomovsk, but it's Bakhmut actually. So now from Grubovka they want to get to Lysychansk and cut the road between Bakhmut and Lysychansk. And if you look north, that's the small cauldron they want to close from Seversk, Yampol, Popasnaya, Vrubovka, and Lysychansk and Severodonetsk remain encircled then, if they succeed. Situation is very difficult there for our troops. Continuous air and artillery attacks. They have bigger artillery reserves and more aviation. We're barely holding in that area. It's difficult. Lysychansk itself and Severodonetsk is somewhat manageable. The towns themselves were good, but that threat still exists. And also there is some data that they're trying to get to Solidar. They're following the railroad. And they will try to use railroad if they capture it. Because it's, of course, more effective to supply your troops via the railroad than by usual roads. Let's look down south. There is Artyomovsk, and to the south of Popasna there is Mironovsk. That's where Svetlodarsk water reservoir is, and today we left Svetlodar to move to a new position. One can describe it as the partial collapse of a Svetlodar line, but we did withdraw according to the plan. We're not pushed out. We're just moving and regrouping to a different position, because right now Bakhmut is being attacked with artillery and aviation. So in this regard, it's basically a frontline city. So now they're pushing to Lysychansk. Izum didn't work out. In Slavyansk, they have some success in that area. And we have serious problems near Lysychansk and Severodonetsk, which is facing a real threat of operative encirclement. How are they doing it? They threw 5 battalion tactical groups in that direction, and those are fresh, new ones. And our groups are there for a long time. We couldn't really rotate them much, so they've been fighting for 3 months. They've got several fresh battalion groups, and imagine a fresh boxer on the ring versus the one who just fought several rounds. So regardless of how professional the other one is, he's tired. So regardless, our troops are still holding, and we even counterattacked in a couple places. For the second day they cannot advance, but the threat is still real. I need to also say one more unpleasant thing, that from what I see from the open sources, Russian command set the goal to invest everything what they have into reaching the border of Lugansk and Donetsk regions, especially Lugansk. So they gathered everything they could. They threw the fresh formed from reserves groups from Russia. They even had some thrown here from far east of Russia, almost from Sakhalin. And also some from Belgorod district. Russian Guard, which is police special forces. And they might be able to scramble another 10 groups, battalion groups in that direction. And in current times, it's a very serious argument. So for us, it is hard, and it will be harder. So the situation is problematic. Tell me, please, I do not understand the full operative situation. Maybe it's worth leaving Severodonetsk and not waste your soldiers and resources. What is the reason to waste it there? I will not give my point of view, because that is the prerogative of the military command. But after that everything happens, I can comment post factum. Right now it's unethical for me to comment that. If I was just Olexiy Arestovych and I was not in the president's office, then I probably could have said a bit more, especially if I was not in the military as well. But right now I need to hold that. Now let's go south. I forgot to send you that map, but we'll have it tomorrow. We'll scan it better, right? Because this one is a bit folded, and we kind of rushed it. Yeah, I'll take a good picture of it. And in the future, that will probably follow the maps. It'll be more visually understandable. So if you look at Avdiivka down south, they tried to storm it and failed, didn't get any success. Also, there is Mariinka and Kurakhova down south, and Ugledar. Большая Novoselka. They tried advancing there and failed, and they took a pause. Let's go to the next map. Which one is it? Zaporozhye. Let's bring it up. Okay, we got it. We see Nikopol. Everything is here. Nikopol is on the left. Zaporozhye is in the north, in the middle. Takmak, Vasilivka, yep. So look, at 3, there is a settlement called Pologi. Yep, we see that. So from Pologi there is an offensive headed towards Gulay-Pole, which is straight to the north from it. And according to the big pincer movement by Russian troops, this is the lower pincer. And that's also that's where the attack also is heading from the east, from beyond the map. I know the military will be laughing here at this term, but yeah. And if you go from Pologi to 9 o'clock to Orekhov, that's the main direction where they're trying to advance. And from Orekhov, they also want to go to Kamyshevacha, which is about 11 o'clock from Orekhov, and after that Zaporozhye. Not really working for them, because we are really effective taking out their logistics and their aft end. Now from Orekhov, let's go to 8 o'clock, and we see Vasiliev. It's right on the water. Vasilievka, that's where they have 3 battalion tactical groups, and that's the question. Will they go to the north? Or will they go to Orekhov? But I want to tell to citizens of Zaporozhye, nothing is a threat for them, because they'll really be tired walking that far. They cannot reach that. We will let you know. Your military civil administration will tell you that you can leave your city if the threat really approaches by land. Here is just positional shenanigans with some attempts to move, to attack, to regroup. And here we cannot say anything new. They had an attempt to move there for 2 or 3 days, and after failing, they are regrouping. Let's take next map. Krivoy Rog. Let's pull it up. Okay. Let's go straight 6 p.m. Pass by Shirokaya, Arkhangelskaya. There is an interesting turn the river Ingulets is doing, and that's where Russian troops like to hang around. And near that there is Davidov crossing, and then there are also gray and yellow marks near, right? So all these roads, they are basically following irrigation channels that are in that area. This is what it is. And it's rather difficult for equipment to move. So near that Ingulets, to Vysokopolye, they tried to advance. Now they got to a little bit north of Velika Alexandrovka. Same thing, they are not really advancing further because they don't have enough troops. And if you go left to Belaya Krynica,
там я не буду показывать, какая точная линия по сумме причин, но примерно туда проходит, чуть-чуть левее проходит линия фронта в направлении Николаева.
And to the left, there is a front line towards Nikolaev. They tried to attack in that direction, but nothing really worked for them. And then the next map, even in the twisted version of it, you can still get a better idea of how it looks. Maps give visuals. You can see Kherson. Yep. So right above Kherson, you can see there is a sign that says Chernobyevka. That's that famous place where many magic things happened. And they couldn't really leave that area. There's actually a cute star right in that spot. As if the map knew what's happening there. It looks like it's really next to Kherson. Oh yeah, it is. And strategic and operative, it's really close. Operative, there is a bit of a distance. But it's the area that was really their favorite spot there. And they were getting hit there so many times, and I'm thinking they'll probably get again. Like French like to say, whatever happened twice will happen thrice. Something like that. So the logic is, you can see the red road and you can see the railroad going from Kherson to Nikolaev to Kulbakina airport. Russian troops went even that far. They were fighting at Kulbakina and even had airborne troopers, got their butts kicked, and the troopers were destroyed completely 2 or 3 times. And what's interesting, their police really wreaked havoc on the Russian troops. Just the usual police on this usual vehicles were doing plastic cars, as we call them, were showing wonders of bravery and military skill. So now people can research that map, they can pause, freeze frame, and explore details of it. And I'll add you another map tomorrow. So that's the story. We had the most difficult situation near Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, towards Bakhmut, given the fact how desperately they're trying to get it, and they've thrown a lot of forces in that direction. It seems like somebody said in the top office, you gotta do that. First of all, probably for the internal consumption, to show that their operation is going according to the plan. And second, I really liked it. He said the operation is going slow to avoid civilian casualties. Of course, that's how they usually do. Looking at how they level Severodonetsk and Bakhmut, they're really taking care of the civilians, just like in Bucha, right? So what are we expecting? We're expecting the continuation of escalation in that area, which is already difficult. They'll be throwing more reserves and will be causing us grief. We slowed them down for a couple of days, but we'll see what happens after. Another serious matter is the fight for Liman and for possible establishment of river crossing to Seversk. And that's when the kettle will be closing. It is Russian word. We don't use it on our side. But since, I'm looking at these maps and listening to what they say about it all day, so I'm using their terms. We've been about 25 minutes live, about 250,000 people watching us live. Share links in your social media and share it with your friends, especially the ones who are curious in how things are going. So it's up to you to invite more people. And of course, subscribe to our channels. If you're watching that in English, subscribe to the Privateer station. We'll try to translate other materials as time permits, so you'll have more things to enjoy. So, reviewing that in general, correct me if I'm wrong, we did discuss things. It's the 3 months of war, and they kind of solved almost their goal to reach the borders of Lugansk and Donetsk regions. Even though they're officially claiming they're not in a hurry, they do appear that they are throwing everything in a hurry to try to grab those regions until something happens. They're afraid of something, either Lend-Lease or some Ukrainian pushback, that they're trying to push the front line to the left as far as they can. My hypothesis sounds like this. Somebody really, really needs it. Somebody probably gave word that to the 1st of June, the 5th of June, or some other June, or the end of May, they'll get to the borders of the regions. Second, could be some internal promises in Russian top level command. There is some crisis moment in the Russian management, and to alleviate that crisis, they need some success. So they're not it's not linked to counterattack by Ukrainian forces. Probably not, because they're really in a hurry. They would not need to lose so many people. They could achieve these borders slower if they really wanted to. And another thing is looking at their emissaries on the west and their outline attempts to buy their votes, and maybe they're trying to show the West their capability. Their capability to solve these tasks and perhaps drag Ukraine into a so-called Minsk III agreement. Because if you look at the narrative of some of the Western agents of Russia, that although Russia did suffer a defeat near Kiev, Chernigov, and Sumy, but, and as somebody wise said, don't listen to what was before, but listen what comes after it. But the war is long, Putin has ambitions, Russian army is big, they can throw more resources, let's give them what they wanted, what they captured. Sign another architecture of a big agreement, and we'll do it business as usual. And Russian command needs to show capability to solve these tasks, that despite of the heroic resistance of Ukrainian forces, we're still achieving our goals, and it's inevitable, and you have to sit down at the negotiation table and just take it. We'll not go further, but we'll take what we have. And they're emphasizing the voices on the West that are blowing that pipe and trying to help them, or trying to do that. So that's what our point is. There's not going to be Minsk III. I will not be tired repeating that. Our concern is about the military situation, but that's where our military will be resolving it. What is curious? Near Lugansk, near Popasna, we shot down one of the Russian planes, storm fighter, Su-25, and there was a curious pilot in it. He was a general major.
Да, Канамат
Kanamat Batashev.
по
Was he really there? We read about him in the news. Yeah, he's a well-known person. In 2013, he was having fun on one of the jet fighters and broke it, destroyed it. So he was resigned from the army. So wait, he was a general back then? Yeah, he was. And he was basically kicked out of military. And now we shoot the plane with him in the cockpit. So since when do we have resignees piloting planes? I'll tell you, because we have some intel on the ground. They're flying from Krimsk. Basically, the whole group is gone there. There are no planes and no pilots. And that's basically what people are saying in that town. That's what it feels like. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel to find whoever can. And even that guy is kind of weird. If he was kicked out of the army in 2013, he was not flying for almost 10 years, and then they put him back in a cockpit. It's almost like Rudskoy laughed, said, flew twice, both times was shot down. So they're losing a lot of professionals, and now they're going to commercial pilot supply for their military aviation, almost like private contractors to do that. Because according to our data, their current pilots are basically peeing themselves scared. They don't want to fly. We recently shot down one of the head of their detachments, and there was a video. I bow him courtesy that he tried to remain in control because they were recording, and he probably was a brave man, and he was trying to show people that his own command that even shot down, he's still trying to manage the plane. So anyway, there was a few seconds of him trying to manage the plane, and after that there were screams and the plane crashed. So he died together with his co-pilot. And in Russia we have a lot of young pilots who just graduated, but the problem is that Russian pilot becomes somewhat of a military pilot 6 years after graduation. Until then, he's basically a very basic pilot who can maybe take off, fly standard route, and then come back. All these tricks going on a super low altitude, avoiding anti-aircraft weapons, this is very difficult. As someone who's learning how to pilot little commercial planes, I'm telling it's not easy. So it seems like they're going to the commercial contractor supply of pilots for these machines. That's the problem. The planes are really expensive, so they're losing super expensive vehicles. That's another problem here, that
ручка вперед, там получка в карман, как бы и поехали, поэтому они в принципе склонны рисковать.
Usually, plane pilots are a little reckless. Normally, very often when civilians find somebody who crashed, their first question was that a military pilot? Because those guys like to risk. But right now, if we get a general major, a resigned general major in a cockpit, that means they're really in a difficult place in terms of personnel. And now let's also speak about the dangers for Ukraine. If Severodonetsk falls, for example, our troops and our nation will suffer a pretty difficult morale issue. Of course, we will not. That doesn't mean we'll lose the war, because if Russian army wants to continue advancing, there are at least 4 other towns of that size on the way to their stated goal. And if they had Stalin, who would be putting down so many men to take just one of them, and had his own economic capacity and manufacture weapons and arms, then maybe. But they don't have either. So it's not an option. And now about the Russian difficulties. On the first glance, they're not really visible. There'll be propaganda, they'll be showing how successful they are, about capturing new territories. So they keep using propaganda about you, about me. But now let's go from problem on the plane to the problems on the ground. They're now burning through their professional military personnel. They're destroying their professional reserve. At that pace, they'll probably have a basic minimum of military professionals in a month. In a month or two, they'll have just commercial contractors, some reserve who haven't really served or haven't shot much, and then lumpen proletariat, the guys who came there to make a buck because they need to pay alimony or just need money for booze. The quality of the army will fall down. It will not be an army, so to say. So every normal person, where did these 2-3 weeks come from? Because we thought they're smart. They're not smart. They're following political goals and ghostly tactical success. They're ready to lose operative and maybe strategic matters. So, for example, there was a brigade. They lost 30-60% of their group, but they have the command, they have the backbone. We got new troops, and the old ones teach them and help them to carry on. What they're doing instead, they're literally grinding them down to 20%. So all their professionals are dying out. They refill that detachment, throw people in, but there's nobody to train them. Command is new, inexperienced, almost no fighters with experience, again, to teach their neighbors, their comrades in arms. So on paper, they will have a battalion tactical group, but in reality, that'll be a very poor force. So reservists would need to try to learn anew in the adverse conditions. So they're literally destroying the core of their army to achieve these ghostly tactical goals, politically dictated. Because it's a bad story, because when Lend-Lease gets here and will start our offensive, regardless when it happens, second half of July, August, even if it's September, their army will have the minimum, the bare minimum of professional reserve, with a lot of conscripts, freshly drafted, and also some of the reservists who also not exactly good fighters. That's why they're taking T-62 out of their storage. But, you know, that's their option. They got to do something, right? So they'll try to solve the tasks of counterattack or defense with that mix that you can't really call a full proper army, including the resigned fugitive pilots. So, even though right now, tactically, they are winning in some parts, strategically, they're literally getting ready, setting themselves up for a big loss. Because that mix, that hodgepodge of troops, will literally mean a lot, because when Ukrainian army will get back to Severodonetsk, Popasna, a few months later we'll talk. I'll be telling you, Mark, remember on the 90th day I told you that this will be a factor, and this is what we're seeing now. When the troops cannot stay in the field, cannot hold the city, when they crumble under attacks, because they have no backbone. They grinded the backbone down. And if somebody says, Olexiy, you're leaking all the advantages that we have, no, I'm only telling what everybody already knows, and they also cannot fix it. They cannot fix it neither in a month, nor in 2, nor in 3, because their political management will continue pushing them. And regarding Lend-Lease, European Union also supported the fourth tranche, 500 million euros. The last one was on the 13th of April. So they're continuing their support. Regarding grain, remember there was discussion if NATO will partake in the Black Sea to deblocade Ukrainian routes. Ursula von der Leyen said that they'll allow Ukraine to export their grain from NATO ports and cities. Britain said they will not be bringing their ships to the Black Sea, will try to use other means. So we'll see how that unfolds. Also, Minister of Defense of Canada, Anita Anand, said that their country is sending over 20,000 shells for 150 millimeter howitzers, those long-range, mighty ones. We already have about 100 of them on the field, over 90. So we'll be using them a lot. And that's why we managed to crack down Russian plans, if not in the directions, but at least crack down the tempo of advancement. My last question, we have 485,000 people watching us live. We've been live for about 40 minutes. Again, subscribe, leave, don't forget to put the like. That's the only way to promote this channel, because Google hates anything war related, regardless if you're pro-war or anti-war. So you're doing an important thing doing it. So my last question is about the reserves. How much can they bring? Russia has the reserve system destroyed. It's bigger, it has bigger, should have a bigger potential in people, in economy, but it has been methodically destroyed. All their military was built for a blitzkrieg military campaign, and that system cannot be transferred in a year or half a year to a more effective mode. And in Ukraine, we did not exactly lose the last 8 years. Right now, we have 700,000 people in the army. If need be, we can easily increase it to 1 million. And we'll throw another 300,000 people to the front, and then Russian army will be in a pickle. Problem is what to arm them with, and it's both for Russians and for us. So for us, it's Lend-Lease. And Western military support also has its own complications. First of all, they don't have so much free weaponry. Today we heard Polish command saying we gave our tanks to Ukraine, and Germans promised to refill that. But we still not getting it. What's up, Germany? So everywhere there are some issues. Some things need to be manufactured, some things need to be transferred to the Western armies to be delivered to us, so we're targeting the second half of July. What I'm afraid of is that Russian reserves that they're really trying to create now, they probably listened to us when we said that they don't have operative reserves. They're starting to have some. They're throwing the remnants of their troops that they have, and also building the volunteer contractor-based groups. They still have those people they still have volunteers who wants to go, and they throw money at them. So 200th Brigade that was buried several times over, it is being restocked again. Far East and Kaliningrad. But understandably, but whom are they gathering? You could get the declassified elements from under all the bridges. Yeah, but the command still would have a paper battalion group, and they'll report upstairs that they have a force, and they'll start throwing them in the grinder, and aviation artillery will work. And for us, we'll have to keep shooting, using our artillery more and more. So it's important that it's difficult for us right now with the jets and the artillery. Count versus Russian artillery so far, and there is another inopportune or difficult situation near Severodonetsk that I will probably mention when it resolves one way or another. So we also did transfer money to 2 families. I'll use that minute for our charity. So this is wife of Konstantin German from Liman, who suffered after explosions, and we sent her some money to help her recover. And here is another family from Kramatorsk, a girl with her mom and brother. The girl lost her legs and feet, and mom lost one foot. And today we managed to send them another 2,000 euros from NFT sales. So please help us raise more funds. We're basically selling that in OpenSea and transferring money to these more known horrible cases, casualties of war. If you want to partake in that, send your NFT to Feygin live@gmail.com email. It's in the description of the video, and we'll be naming officially the families where we're sending these monetary support. Mark, I got another idea. I have toothpicks that I've been holding in my hands for 90 days. I can put them to auction. Actually, yeah, you're right. We do have another idea. I'll talk to you after, behind the screens. And toothpicks, that's the same toothpicks I've been holding for several casts. They have a piece of my attention. So, we'll continue tomorrow. Please come tomorrow at 8 p.m. Kiev time. Let's see how it changes in the next day. Thank you, Olexiy. Thank you, Mark Konstantin.